As diplomacy fails, problematic military strike scenarios against Iranian nuclear sites abound. In his excellent book, The Iran Threat, Ali Reza Jafarzadeh creatively offers another option: empower the Iranian people to seize control over their own country from the illegitimate clerical leadership. The Iran Threat will be on the must-read list of policymakers from Washington to Moscow, as well as from Baghdad to Beijing. That, according to Professor Raymond Tanter, Georgetown University President, Iran Policy Committee. Ali Reza Jafarzadeh knows Iran and the terrorist nature of Islamic fascism. He charts the Iranian regime's political development and efforts to become a nuclear power. He analyzes U.S. policy and failures to contain the Iranian threat. Anyone concerned about world peace and security should read this book. These words were spoken by Donna Hughes, professor and Carlson Endowed Chair, University of Rhode Island. The U.S. Congress has known of all the material presented in this book by Ali Reza Jafarzadeh for years. The U.S. Congress has known. Ronald Ernest Paul has known. Ronald Ernest Paul knows the truth about Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the phony president of a non-republic, a rogue regime sponsoring terrorism, attempting to build nuclear weapons contrary to the wishes of world opinion. Ronald Ernest Paul knows all of this. No one would have heard of Ronald Ernest Paul, the obscure nobody from Texas, had it not been for Alex Jones. Period. Ronald Paul admits that. He says he got more publicity from Alex Jones in 1 year than he got in the previous 30 years as an obscure nobody from an obscure congressional district in a big state of Texas. Ron Paul is a nobody. Nobody knows much about him. I don't care to know much about him. I already know all I need to know from his supporters. I have not examined Ron Paul. I have examined his supporters. I have attempted to expose his supporters and the fact that he remains mute as to the identity and the motives and the agenda of his supporters. Some of you inside his organization know his motives. You know the true Ron Paul. I invite you to share your knowledge with the rest of us. You can send me a private message. You can leave comments on this video. Some of you have noticed connections to the hard left and to radical Islam. Some of you know that your friends, the people that you have paraded with on the streets, are affiliated with International Answer, a communist front group. Some of you have doubts. Some of you know things. I invite you to leave comments or to send me a private message.
Qutb made an intellectual migration. His writing had been secular, his politics nationalistic.
In the 1940s, he began to feel more religious and to look at his intellectual life and his intellectual exploration more through the lens of religion, which has happened to a lot of modern Egyptians.
And then in 1948, Sayyid Qutb was sent overseas by the Egyptian Ministry of Education. His mission to study curriculum at Colorado State Teachers College. He was 42 years old and not entirely fluent in English.
And his trip to the United States, starting in 1948, was really a defining moment for that transformation.
I think what his time in the States did was to confirm in his mind the degeneracy of Western civilization.
Qutb did not see degeneracy in Greeley, Colorado, especially in 1948. Having come from the backward, superstitious, filthy, stinking septic tank of Egypt, he saw paradise and he saw the pinnacle of virtue in Greeley, Colorado, especially in 1948, especially at a church dance where the song played was Baby It's Cold Outside, and these scholars are interviewed on All Things Considered, and they sympathize with the poor religious holy man Qutb, how no doubt he was horrified at the degeneracy of the West, and went home to warn his people, don't go to America, don't copy the ways of America, isolate yourself from America, all American influence. Well, there may be some truth in that, but what he said was an extreme exaggeration, a total misrepresentation of what he saw in Greeley, Colorado in 1948. What I want to point out is these scholars are paraded on a radio show, All Things Considered. One after the other, they sympathize with the poor man who obviously could not take the culture shock of seeing the degeneracy of the West. No, he did not see degeneracy. He saw the opposite. And these scholars are lying right along with Qutb. Can you admit the possibility that this is true? Qutb and these scholars who are interviewed on a radio program paid for by U.S. tax dollars, lying, and lying, one lie after another. And they're trying to show you why the sensitive Arab people felt compelled to crash airplanes on 9/11. Qutb is the leader of the religious cult that was the foundation of Al-Qaeda.